My fucking warriors who will not hang up the phone until their client either buys or fucking dies!
Hey! Hope you are doing well, folks. Hope you like that little intro. How are you doing? How are you doing? Are you ready for today? Today there will be some blood, there will be some violence. We're going to talk about the taboo subject of business. I know that every artist is super duper allergic to that shit. But yeah, let's talk about that. It's going to be fun. All right. Ready? Let's go. Let me put on the performance mode so I'm not distracted. Can you hear me well? Is everything working fine? All right. So let me put my camera in very small. I think the camera of the cat is going to be more important. Here we go. Let me put it right there. There we go. We are blessed with the kitty today. There's a second one coming very, very, very soon. Let's talk about that. Let's go. Can you see the text well? Let me just check very quickly. Whoop. Here we go. Everything is working totally fine. Let's go. So, we are talking about the industry and the job from a business standpoint. And it's going to be quite important. I've been talking about that extensively in the mentorship and recently, but every time you see someone being very angry on LinkedIn or on social media about the state of the industry, it sucks, okay? That's one thing. I'm not wishing anyone to be angry. But then you dive and you start looking either at their portfolio or what they do online and such, and you're like, damn, this probably explains why you are struggling. When you are a beginner, it's a bit more difficult. Of course, when I'm talking mostly about seasoned artists who made a business out of complaining on social media. And the problem is that a lot of artists, they are very good at drawing. And it was fine before 2020 to just be good at drawing, even up to 2022. You could just be good at drawing and get away with that. Some artists, before they built an entire career out of that, and it was fine. But today, because the industry is obviously contracting a bit, and the spots are a bit more expensive and a bit harder to get, being just good at art might not be enough. This is something I forgot to talk about, but I want to start talking about that immediately. It's what I call the holy trinity of professional work, or the triforce of professionalism. And this is artistic skills. Okay. Everyone understands what it is. It's like you're good at art, you're good at concept art, you're good at illustration, design, 3D, whatever. You know your job and you are able to do it well, whatever it is. I've been talking about what is expected from concept art a lot. I'm going to talk about that again a lot in that presentation, so no need to elaborate on that. The second aspect that we're going to talk about today is the business skills, like understanding the industry and the job we are doing through the lens of business and money and not just art. We are making art, that's one thing, but all job, we are not paid just for the artwork. We are paid because our artwork are solving a specific problem that the specific studio is having, and they think we are the most suited person to solve that problem. Okay? So understanding the business aspect of the job, which is what we're going to do today, like understanding the dynamic of money in the industry, what is valuable, what is not, and also understanding other aspect of business, which is like sales, outreach, cold email, networking. Those are important skills, especially today, because if you don't have that, you're going to run into problems. More about that in a second. The last trinity of skills, my cat is literally licking my arm right now. Hello, kitty. The last skill that is required that we could talk about for an entire presentation, maybe later, is social and human skill. TLDR, you are acting like a piece of crap on social media or in a team. Nobody will want to work with you. If your e-reputation is destroyed because you've been speaking virtual online for too long, same, you won't be hireable. And the reason is simple. No one wants to hire a little emotional ticking time bomb with little legs that might detonate in a studio and cause a lot of troubles either internally or else in terms of PR and lose them a lot of money. You don't trust me? I think we talked about that. Look at the art director of Avowed. What he did in a few tweets was destroying 12 years of work on Avowed and losing in stocks allegedly $1.4 billion to Microsoft for freaking tweets. So people are very careful about that. And I wish I had that meme. You know that meme from Harry Potter with McGonagall, Harry, Ron, and Hermione? And McGonagall is saying, why is that every time there is troubles, it's always you three? And the three person would be artists, creatives, writers. And there's a big stigma around artists in the industry regarding emotional management and all of that, because a lot of the dramas have been happening with artists. The TLDR about that holy trinity of skills is that you lack art, you're not good enough. You lack the business skills, you're going to undersell yourself and you're going to be very bad at closing deals, so companies will take advantage of you. You don't have the human aspect and the emotional management, you will be radioactive in the industry and nobody would want to work with you. So you need the three of them. That being said, after the very long introduction, let's start talking about a lot of bullet points. Tell me, by the way, in the comments, if you like this kind of bullet point approach. I think it's not the sexiest to look at, but it's very easy to make and it's very free flowing. Yeah, I know that good writers are always implicated emotionally, but the thing is that when you're working in a studio, it's normal to want to be involved emotionally, but if you are too involved, unfortunately, there will always be decisions that are contrary to what you would like to do, because sometimes the interest of the company, of the executive, is not in the interest of the artist, or simply you have a disagreement. And you need to be able to not make yourself sick to your stomach when something like this happens. Otherwise, it might become a problem. You might burn out. You might become very resentful. And it's not very positive. So let's start. So let's talk about the business aspect. We are not going to talk about how to make fancy artwork today. You have a zillion videos about that. You have tons of mentors that are way better than me to teach you that. You are here for the other half of the job. So we need to understand that basically, as I was saying, we are there not to do fancy art, but to solve a problem. And we need to understand how any business works in any activity. You want to know if you can sell something. You need to have a solution to a problem that is very painful and that only you can solve, probably easily and for cheap. If there is not a problem, you try to sell a solution, you are literally like trying to solve something that is kind of irrelevant. It's kind of the difference between selling vitamins versus selling painkillers. If the person is already in pain, they will want the painkiller way more than just vitamins. I'm not saying vitamins are bad. It's just that it's harder to sell vitamins than painkillers. Because when the problem is tangible, you want a solution. You cannot negotiate with pain. And any business, let's say, I don't know, let's pick some cliche business we can see online. Like, I'm here to teach you how to find the love of your life. Okay. You are tapping into a mega problem, which is people feel lonely. They want some intimacy. They have some needs. They want to be loved. They feel bad about that. There is a pain. So it's why you see so many grifters. Like the three easiest thing to sell all the time, it's money, how to make money, drop shipping, e-commerce, OnlyFans management, crypto. You know all the scams from the influencers in Dubai. That's because everyone wants to be rich and have the social status. Gym and body, like muscle gain, weight loss, things like that. Again, very easy to sell because it's generally a tangible pain from the public. And anything tied to relationship and status, like finding the love of your life, Tinder, whatever, dating coach you find from Dubai again. That's why it's been selling so easily. The reason it's been selling easily is that there is a tangible problem that is painful, allegedly no viable solution that the prospect has found. So all they have to do is develop a product, pack it into an offer, sell it for $4.99. So yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that artists creative are commonly treated as outcasts in a business where often belittled. I understand that, but the problem is that it's still a business. And the reason the industry is a business is that it's making hundreds of billions of dollars per year. So it's cool. We are a bunch of geeks. We are a bunch of freaks. We are passionate about video games and blah, 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 blah. We are the kids. We got bullied at school. We understand each other. That's fine. There's still the money bill rolling eventually. And the studio owners, they might be creative for some of them, but especially with the big AAA, they want a profitable business because if you do not make money, you cannot sustain the creative thing. So even if we love art for the sake of art, we are still there to pay the bills. So having some common sense regarding business is important. I'm not telling you to become Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. This is not what we are going to do. The video before was just a meme, you know. But you need to have a bit of business understanding. And the reason is, right now in the industry, there is a lot of mass panic. There's a lot of incomprehension. Like, what the heck is happening with the industry crashing? And if you see things from a business perspective, it makes sense. Guess what? The public doesn't want those piece of shit of games. They are voting with their wallets. Studio didn't listen. It's been years that they have not been listened, that they grow way too lazy and greedy for their own good. They are using the same shit over and over again. And while it can work once or twice, when it's been for 5 to 10 years, depending on the practice, people start to get very careful about that and they recognize the bullshit miles away. And they don't vote with the public. And because industry refused to listen to the feedback or to change, that's the problem. And that's a business point of view. That's not an emotional point of view. And it makes a lot of sense. So you need to understand that as an artist, you are there to solve fucking problems too. I like that meme. Because since 2018, up to now, as Feng Zhu was saying, what was concept art morphed, or at least the perception of what was concept art and the expectation that everyone was having online morphed into a display of skill, flashy picture, the keyframe, the kid bashing, not having to do the fundamentals anymore. You can play Legos with quick sell assets, etc. And this is where we are right now. We could explain the causes of that. We have already explained it in the previous video. One of the causes is ArtStation and its diabolical algorithm that is putting under the spotlight not what the industry needs, but what us as artists and the consumers of ArtStation like to consume. Similarly to when you are on Instagram, what Instagram recommends by default before the algorithm picks up on you, it's the influencers in Dubai and all that shit. And it's not the norm. It's not what is recommended to your average Joe or Jane. It's just what most people on the platform like to consume. The bimbos, the Lamborghinis, the Bugattis, all that shit. All the fancy food restaurant, you know. And then it picks up that you like cats, and it only shows you cats. But similar to ArtStation, that picks your taste after some point. So yeah, it's something that I would like to mention. It's like, I know that there is concept artist and there is the artist part. Think about problem solver or concept designer. Exactly like what Matt is saying in the chat. Craftsman, woman, crafty people. You are an engineer. You are there to solve problem. You are not there to express your artistic self and whatever. a client pays you because they want your expertise on something that is tricky to solve. So the question is how to identify problems for companies. If you've been following the Artnest, you might know already, it's by having an empathetic approach to the pipeline. So what I always advise is that you go to talk to 3D artists, to other artists than just what you do. Let's say you're a concept artist, talk to other people that are not concept artists. Talk to coders, talk to game designers, talk to 3D artists, animators, VFX riggers, all the pipeline, and ask them this. When you're working with concept art, what are your biggest problems that you encounter all the time with concept art that are causing you to waste some time or to have to guess, or that are getting you angry and not helping you? And in that case, what do you wish was different, was done different and provided to you differently with those concepts that will help you do your job easier and faster and remove the guesswork? If you ask that regularly, collect the data and implement that, this is how you solve problem for the pipeline. Because if you open a Photoshop, let me make a little scribble. This is for concept art, but this is for everyone else. So this is you in the pipeline as a concept artist right there. Okay. So there is maybe one concept artist. You're going to do a concept of an environment, let's say. So you make an environment. Okay. It's going to be given to maybe 5 3D artists. Let's assume it takes you 1 week to do that work. Let's say you are paid, so it's 5 working days. Let's say you are paid $400 a day. Congrats. 1 week, and that task costed $2,000 to the studio. Not accounting for taxes, social security, and blah, blah, blah. Now you have those 5 artists. They are all going to spend, let's say, 2 weeks on the thing. So that's a total of 10 weeks. Total. Let's assume $400 a day per person. You are literally at 20,000. And this is not speculative, this is how it works. For one concept artist, there's a crap ton of 3D artists. So let's imagine you just can save 1 day of work per people. So you save 7 days times 400. You save 2,800 euros. If you can save them just 1 day of work. So literally you could still ask for twice the money, 4,000, and there would still be 800 in profit. You're not going to ask for twice as much, but the more you can save them time and money, the more valuable you can become. The less likely you are to be laid off, and the higher your prices. Does that make sense, folks? I'll take that as a yes. So this is how you solve problem. And you can also ask yourself, and this is what I've been showing in my videos, like how to craft a portfolio that gets you hired, with the first part and second part about analyzing the art direction and the process of the studio and the people working there. You want to make sure that what they want is what you provide to them. Kind of similar to, let's say you want, again, crappy comparison and bad at comparison, but let's say you are selling ice creams and the only 3 perfumes you have is vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, and you have someone who wants, I don't know, like mint, for example, you're not going to be suited for them. And if you are in a city where everyone wants mint, you better have mint. So with that crappy comparison, it's the same with a studio. If it's a studio, let's say you are aiming at studios making only RPGs, and you come with a portfolio where you are doing a shooter, a portfolio for a shooter, like an FPS, they might be like, well, it's good, but it's not what we need. So analyzing what kind of problem they are dealing with, it's very important. You apply to Larian Studio with some futuristic stuff like Doom, it's not for them. You apply to id Software with a dating simulator, it's not for them. You apply to Ubisoft with something that is not open world, it's probably not for them. So it's very important that you ask yourself, what is the studio that I'm aiming at, or the set of studios that I am aiming at are dealing with on a daily basis? What types of game are they making? What types of genre are they making? What is the art direction? What is the time period? What is the archetypal project that they are making? What have they been making over the last X years that can lead me to a certain conclusion about what they might do next? You look at Larian Studio, they have been doing fantasy CRPGs forever. It's very likely that the next one is going to be a fantasy CRPG. You look at Ubisoft, they have been doing Assassin's Creed religiously for a lot of time. It's very likely that they're going to do another Assassin's Creed, and that it's not going to be futuristic. It's going to be another historical period. You look at studios like CDPR, that's a bit trickier because they have The Witcher, they have Cyberpunk, which are drastically opposed. In that case, maybe you cannot make an average, but you can commit on at least one of them. Historical, you will have The Witcher, you will have Fable, you will have Baldur's Gate, you will have Assassin's Creed, you'll have things like that. Cyberpunk, maybe you can attach it to what they are doing at DICE on the Battlefield. Maybe you can attach it to The Division, to Star Wars Battlefront, to Apex Legends, and other studios like that. Make sense, folks? And then you ask yourself about the art direction and the process, and this is everything we talked about in the video, how to get a portfolio that gets you hired. Good. But you are solving a problem. They are not hiring you for your beautiful drawing. They are hiring you because your drawing can be used and make them money. Next, let's talk about the value equation. This is not from me. This is from Alex Hormozy, one of the final boss of business, at least online at the moment. And the equation is as follows. The dream outcome multiplied by the perceived likelihood of achievement divided by the time delay and effort and sacrifice required. So that's an example I'm giving in the preparatory module. And this is from Alex Hormozy. He's comparing meditation to Xanax. And you're going to be like, what the fuck is that comparison? Why is it relevant to art? Bear with me. We're going to do the same comparison with the art market after. So the dream outcome of a Xanax or meditation is to relieve stress and relieve stress. Perceived likelihood of achievement. For, let's pick meditation. So meditation, dream outcome, relieve stress. Perceived likelihood of achievement, you're going to have to train a lot. It's not certain. You have to be focused. Time delay, you will have to meditate every single day for maybe an hour before feeling some sort of effect. Effort and sacrifice, you have to train. You have to be unbothered and undistracted. You have to get used to that. That's why meditation is good, but not a multi-billion-dollar companies like Xanax. Because Xanax, very simple, dream outcome, relieve stress, perceived likelihood of achievement, pop a pill, 15 minutes, you're a fucking vegetable. Time delay, 15 minutes to wait, effort and sacrifice, popping a pill, drinking water. It's very easy. So it's good. So what about the value equation of a professional artist? Dream outcome. An artist that makes us a lot of money and saves a lot of time and money to the rest of the pipeline. Perceived likelihood of achievement as close as possible to 100%. So we need to be sure that this person can make it. Time delay, a person able to do that as fast as possible, if possible, immediately. Effort and sacrifice, we want to train that person as little as possible, if at all. That's for a senior. What's happening for a junior? A junior dream outcome. We still want that. The problem is that we know we will have to train the person. Perceived likelihood of achievement, it's uncertain because the person has little to no experience yet, needs to be a bit babysitted, let's say. And they are stress balls. They are not used to the crucible of the industry yet. So there's a lot of risk tied to that. Time delay, we will have to train the person between 3 to 6 months. effort and sacrifice. We will have to spend a lot of money and resources from other seniors and from the whole structure to train that person. And that person will also have to do a lot of effort. So the value of a junior, lower than a pro. And this is why hiring juniors are the most expensive hires of the whole company. Because what is expensive when you hire a senior or something like that is just their salary and potentially visa sponsorship. But then they make money immediately. A junior, they are lower on the salary side, but everything else is way more expensive and require hand-holding, and they're going to take a lot of time before being profitable. I explained that last time when I showcased the product of the artness to train people before they arrive in the studio. So you need to understand that hiring a junior is a gamble, and the more you can minimize that, the more you can maximize the perceived likelihood of achievement by showing that you already get it about what they want, that you understand their style, you understand their process, you understand the job, the better it is. The less they have to train you because you get it, again, the better it is. They don't have to train you on the style, you know it already. They don't have to train you on the pipeline, you know it already. They don't have to train you on what they do, you know it already. You're a big specialist about their project. And effort and sacrifice, again, if they don't have to train you, you minimize the effort. This is how you this is how you do it. I mean, Expedition 33 having a team of juniors wasn't to diminish the wage. The problem is that juniors, they are not the most profitable. So maybe you can minimize the wage, but you do not minimize the profit. I sent a message on LinkedIn to the art director of Expedition 33. I would love to have him in a podcast to know actually how he made that. But you look at Expedition 33, for example, the characters, they've been made with meta-human. And you have seen a lot of very salty devs from Big Studio being like, boo, everyone is saying Expedition 33 is an amazing game, but they kit bashed a lot of things and the characters have been made with meta-human and they use scans and they cheated. It feels like those artists, when photo bashing in 3D arrived, were like, but at least you are not pixel painting things by stuff. Nobody wants a participation trophy and the public doesn't give a shit because allegedly, the characters from Expedition 33 and their environment are way more successful and way more appreciated than a lot of characters that has been made by hand, from scratch, OC don't steal by big studios, and nobody gave a shit about that. So looking at you, Concord, everything was handmade, nobody gave a shit about that. At least for the characters. The hard surface was amazing. So that fucking excuse of saving costs, it doesn't really matter where you are saving costs as long as the result is there and as long as you don't have a drama on the way. So I don't know if it was because of low cost. I don't think so. I think it's because the team was coherent and the art director was very, very, very good. And that's also a big problem for the industry. Because Expedition 33 done with $6 million, 33 people, plus a bunch of other QA people. There's 400 people in the credits. With a 2% of the budget of Assassin's Creed and 2% of the human resources, if probably less, they made a more profitable game in terms of numbers. 6 million, they sold 2 million copies. It was $45. Steam takes 30%, so let's assume they earn $30 per copies. Congrats, they made 60 million. They made a 10x profit. It's due to scope, yeah, and it's fine. It proves that more and more of the great projects of today are done by smaller teams. And again, you have the emotional thing, like, well, because it's smaller, it's easier. I would argue that maybe not, maybe not. Technically, you are bigger, you have more resources, you should be more structured, you should have more resources to solve problems. And exactly, open world games are extremely expensive. So they are smart in terms of scope based on what they do. And in some way, this is extremely smart. Big studios, they overscope. And that's why the products are super expensive, get delayed, super buggy, because it's way too much than what they can handle. And adding more people, it's not the solution. The problem is the scope. So Expedition 33 is a problem at the moment because it shows that you can do an absolute banger of a game with a not so experienced team Not that much money, if at all, like $6 million is nothing. And you can steamroll in terms of profitability, like 10x profit. Ubisoft will kill for that. They will kill for a 10x profit on the game. Like if they make profit on, let's say, an Assassin's Creed, it's at best it's a 2x, you know. Rather, it's a 10x. For the scale of Senfall, this is massive, you know. They have 10 times more money for the next project. This is insane. It's a massive problem for the industry. It exposes again that more and bigger is not the solution today. It was the same with Lion. It was the same with Elden Ring. It was the same with Helldivers, Space Marine 2, Palworld, recently Schedule 1. That's some examples. Back to concept art. Let's talk about the rule of supply and demand to still understand the value. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to read that meme. Do you really think that Anakin is valuable in that situation? No, because he is doing what is super common. What is everyone doing? I've been memeing about that for over a year now. The keyframe, the flashy picture, the fan art, the following the trends, Black Myth Wukong, then Assassin's Creed Shadows, then Ghost of Tsushima, then God of War, then blah, blah, blah. All the trendy projects, everyone and their mom is doing that. Law of supply and demand. What is common becomes low value. It's a commodity. So again, when you do something in your portfolio and it's from a subject, a genre, based off references, following a certain trend or anything that is common, trendy, mainstream, it's already too late. It's not worth it. So that's why I'm always cautioning the mentees. For example, be careful about all the trends. Do not build a portfolio around your generic post-apocalyptic stuff, about Asia, about 19th century Gothic stuff, around post-apocalyptic. I talk about samurai, about ancient China and things like that. Or else, if you are really, really stubborn, but careful about that, bring a massive twist to bring it in a direction that is new. It might be hard to find the most original idea because it's hard, you know, but at least something you can do is ask yourself, what is the trendy stuff? What is the stuff we see all the time, and avoid do that. It's way easier to avoid the trend than to find something original, I think. And in the other hand, what is rare is high value. And what is rare at the moment is what we need to do the job. And this probably explains why so many people are struggling to find jobs. It's because they are doing the commodity. They are acting like sheeps, just mimicking what they see, rather than asking themselves, again, pattern recognition, what is the problem? How do I fix it? This is a new mantra I will install in the mentorship. You need to ask yourself, what is fucked up? Why is it fucked up? And how do I solve it? And you can ask yourself about that at any scope. What is fucked up? Why is it fucked up? How do we solve it with the game industry? We talked about, I'm not here to speculate about the world and things outside of mind control, but we just talked about that. Overscope, that's a problem. Managing hype badly, disastrous PR statement, ignoring the community, following trends, trying to milk the public, trying to kiss the boots of investors rather than understand that the relationship with your public is more valuable and will bring more money if you are a tad more patient. And Senfall Interactive, Lion, From Software and such are proving what to do. In terms of applicant, okay, what is fucked up? Why is it fucked up? How do we solve it? What is fucked up is that everyone is acting like clones of clones of clones of clones. Why is it fucked up? It's because it's trendy and a lot of artists are profiting off of that to sell tutorials and things like that. We have this kind of, I was joking about the influencers in Dubai who are like flexing their Bugattis, and it's like, hey bro, you want to have the same best life in Dubai than me? Buy my course and you too, you will be able to make 10K a month in Dubai and buy your Lamborghini. Buy my shit for $3.99, we have the same in the art community. We have exactly the same. Like, I'm a nerd. I worked on a whatever super mega big project. I'm living with my cat. I have a hoodie. I have a beautiful computer. You too can do exactly the same as me if you buy my tutorial where I show you my entire process working on insert big name project. So you too, if you do that, you can potentially work on big name project. And people tell us, damn, if I can do that, I will be hireable on that big project. We have the same influencer mindset. It's just disguised in another way. And I'm not calling out names or whatever, but you see a lot of people using the titles they worked on, using their reputation, using the prestige tied to certain product they contributed to sell you the dream that you too can work on that super fancy project if you do just like them. Yeah, I will buy it too if I can get that cat. I'm also wearing a hoodie and having a cat, So that's it. I hope I'm just not saying like do like me, Like do like you, do like what the studio wants to do. This is more important than doing like me. Do not do memes on LinkedIn, at least when you are still working in the corporate world. But that's the thing. And you have a lot of mimicking without understanding the core substance. And we are gradually losing the knowledge about the industry. Like all the big names, they are either too busy doing their stuff or else they dropped out of the industry. All the big sources of knowledge, all the people who gathered the knowledge about the industry, they dropped out in the last 5 years. Fang is barely visible. Maybe one of the only one that is still vocal is like Tyler Edlin, doing amazing work. Please rate Learn Squared course. No, I don't want to get into troubles with them, and I heavily respect Learn Squared. I don't like all the tutors, but I would love to recommend some of them, and I'm actively recommending some of them in the free course and all of that, especially the old ones. So I don't know about the modern stuff, but the old stuff, I got my career thanks to some of the Learn Squared stuff. So not sponsored. I don't know about all of them. But what I don't like is really this kind of narrative. I'm going to pick a fictive stuff. I'm not shot-calling at anyone. It's like, hey, I worked on, let's say, Star Wars. Here is the tutorial for my process on how to work on that I used when working on Star Wars. If you do that, you will do something that looks like Star Wars. So you can potentially work on Star Wars in the future. I've seen a lot of that narrative, and I'm pretty sure the person releasing the people releasing these kind of tutorials, they want to share. It's just that the narrative built around that, whether they want it or not, sometimes it's not even them. It's just what the artists tell themselves, and there's no way you can control that. It's very, not misleading, but it can be dangerous and insidious. And I agree with you, Trojan Horse. The best way to learn is through mentoring, when you are exposed to someone who is in the trenches, who know their shit, and can help you in a tailored way. That's why I'm always saying I don't like the tutorials, because generally you follow along and you copy what you see, and you rarely appropriate that for your whole pipeline and create something new. Like, let's say Piotr Kwiński releasing a tutorial, and I love Piotr Kwiński. I love his tutorial. I think it's massive. Piotr himself released a new tutorial, kind of saying, hey guys, I created the monster releasing that thing because everyone got it fucking wrong. Everyone just copied and scattered shit and made post-apocalyptic shit with that. They did not understand the first principle behind that. So the next tutorial is going to be about the first principle. And guess what? Artists being artists, they just copied again what Piotr did while he explained the first principle. We are very like little brain type of creature as artists. I'm going to talk about that right now, the pattern recognition. And that's what I don't really understand with the artistic community. I think there's a massive paradox, and I hope it does not sound like a diss of the artist community. I'm part of that too. I just hope that people realize the absurdity in which we are right now. It's just that in terms of pattern recognition, our entire job is to recognize pattern. You see a color, let's say you see blue, you associate it with certain feelings and a meaning. Like blue equals calm, wisdom, it's reassuring. Red is about passion, violence, love, strong emotion. Yellow is about betrayal and the sun and warmth and youth. Green is about sickness or about nature, depending on the color, etc. You see certain shape. Round is soft. It's generally more feminine. It's about something that is gentle. Square is about stability and sturdy. It tends to be about more military stuff and solid stuff. Triangle is a bit more aggressive. It's a bunch of little ingredients that we have that are patterns, and we mix them together to create something new and give meaning. And I'm extremely surprised to see that artists, again, not all of them, but a lot of them, at least based on what I see on LinkedIn and social media, are unable to use that insane pattern recognition skills that they have, that is required to do the job, and transpose that to other fields than just art. Typically, the job market. You look at what everyone is doing, that's a pattern. Are they getting job? That's the consequence of that pattern. So everyone is doing the keyframe, The Last of Us 2 fan art and such. That's the pattern. Are they getting job? No. Conclusion of the pattern? Do not do that if you want to get a job. On the other side, you pick the top 1% of artists who are swimming in jobs. Look at their portfolio. What do they have? Oh, they have the call-out sheet. They have the problem solving. Look at Bjorn Hury. Look at the guys from Opus Arts. Look at the guys from Mood. Look at the winners of the rookies. What do they have? A call-out sheet, iteration, incredibly fresh subjects that are still grounded and understandable, solving real problems, targeting studios. No shit. That might be a pattern that I might follow to get a job too, you know? So that's kind of weird. Also, on top of this, great advice, artists should try to be famous. Nobody gives a shit. I was a nobody before starting the Artness and going viral because I'm acting like a clown on LinkedIn. And I don't consider myself as a rock star, and I don't want to become one. It's just that I'm getting known. The Artness is getting known through me. I'm getting known through the Artness, you know. But before that, I had less than 2,000 followers on ArtStation. I never updated my fucking ArtStation. I was a caveman. I still don't have an Instagram. I don't have Twitter. My Facebook was to share memes and cat photos. So my online presence was nothing. I was not famous. Yet, when I was still working full-time in the industry as a concept artist or as an art director or illustrator, I never got more than probably 3 months without a job. And the biggest dip was at the beginning of COVID, but then after that, I always worked. I was always having clients in rotation and getting recommended. So you don't have to be famous, you have to be recommended. And again, it's by providing value. Some of the biggest artists, you don't even know their name. They don't even have social media, but everyone in the industry knows them. Like David K, you look at David K, he's known like an absolute rock star in the industry by the seniors and all the big people. I'm pretty sure most of the modern concept artists, the younger generation, never heard about him. And yet he's one of the most qualified guys in the entire industry. As simple as that. So that's just an example, but you don't have to be famous. And luck, you have to force it. Everyone has luck at some point, but luck, it's about being at the right place at the right moment and being able to recognize the opportunity, jump on it, and being able to handle it properly. It can be trained to be able to recognize the opportunities. You need experience and you need good skills to be able to handle the opportunity properly. And also, you have a lot of things in your control to force the good opportunities. You never go to events, you never go on social media, you never have an online presence. Again, it's not impossible if you have a recommendation. It's just that you are removing some possibilities to force luck. So that's just an example. And again, today, all the big voices that were setting standards like Feng Zhu, Tyler Edlin. Tyler is probably one of the only remaining. James Spake. I know James Spake is back now on YouTube a bit. Guys like Craig Mullins, Jamie Jones, all the old generation. First of all, most of the modern concept artists, they don't even know who they are. Like, I'm so shocked to see that people don't know who is Feng Zhu or Jamie Jones or even Craig Mullins. It's like, you are playing guitar, you don't know who Jimmy Page is or Jimi Hendrix or Steve Vai. It's like those are like the godfathers of the entire industry, you know? I don't want to sound like a grandpa, you know? But pattern. And to get back on pattern, yeah, pattern about the job. What is the common point that all the people who do not succeed at getting jobs have? They are bitching and whining on LinkedIn. They don't realize they are doing irreparable damage to their reputation. They do only the flashy stuff and the trendy and the commoditized stuff that AI can almost replace. That might be the things to avoid to do. And yet more and more and more people do that. The keyframe designer, Last of Us fan art, I want to only work on the big studios, and nothing against OPB, Terraform, and ILM. I love those studios. It's just that I need to talk about it. I wish I could show you what I see sometimes with applicants for the mentorship. I've been talking about it. I'm receiving between 15 and 40 applications per week, depending on the time of the year. Like right now, we're approaching summer. It's a bit lower. That's normal. At the beginning of January, I was receiving 40 demands a week easily. And sometimes you see some people, it's like, I want to work at One Pixel Brush, Ghost of Tsushima, Wukong, all the trendy stuff that has been released recently. Then I get in an interview with them and I'm like, did you play those games? No. What do you play? Oh, you play Ori, you play Baldur's Gate, you play The Witcher, you play the indie games? Are you interested in playing The Last of Us? No. So why do you want to work on that? I'm not judging, I just want to understand. And a lot of people, a lot of artists today, they don't even know. And sometimes it's just for the prestige, not even for the project itself. And exactly, Stefan, I cannot talk publicly about what you achieve, but I want you to secure that thing, you know, man. You made me fucking cry yesterday, buddy. You made me cry so much yesterday. It was such an emotional relief. And yeah, people, when they mimic stuff, when they mimic The Last of Us, they don't understand the crazy design behind The Last of Us. You know what? One session, maybe one future stream, we're going to analyze that and show you that it's way deeper than just post-apocalyptic building, scatter shit, and plants on it. There's so much more to it than that. The way they compose stuff, the way they guide the player through colors and shapes, it's so important. Yeah, you need to consume what you want to create. And if you consume shit or superficial stuff, you're going to create superficial stuff. Exactly. So, again, this is something I want to talk with Dave. We're going to make some podcasts last month probably together. But that's the main angle I want to talk about, is that today I'm taking the risk to get farmed on social media by saying that. But I think because we are lacking those big guiding artists that we had in the past, like the Feng Zhu, the Jamie Jones, the Craig Mullins, all the OGs who laid the foundations, the Rosetta Stone of art, and because they left or they are not active anymore, the standards of quality and what is expected in the job are vanishing. And we are left in an industry where people are not guided properly. They don't have the right standards. And it's going lower and lower and lower. And no wonder that so many people struggle. And in addition to that, concept art has never been as popular as now. It's becoming mainstream. 10 years ago, it was, you were saying to someone, hey, I'm a concept artist. Nobody knew that shit. Now you explain, hey, I'm working on video games. This is trendy. 10 years ago, it was shameful to be a geek, you know? And again, this is a generational stuff, and I'm not here to make a rant about Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and blah, blah, blah. I'm at the borders between Gen Z and millennials. So I'm technically a Gen Z too, so I'm putting myself in that basket. But the interest for culture, the overall level of culture about games, about old movies, about classic literature, about myths, legend, and everything that makes the vocabulary we use is going lower and lower. Again, sometimes in interview, I've been refusing some people in interviews who wanted to pay, and in my head I was like, that person will be a liability, you know? Because they don't have the culture, they will not get the value, they will not get it. It's like, what games do you like? Oh, I like the trendy stuff. That's fine. What are the other games that you played as a kid? I don't know. It's like, it's so important to have that culture today. Do you accept artists that aim at indie studio? Yeah, I do not do discrimination. It's just that you need to be aware about the potential challenges of indie studio, but nothing wrong against that. I don't care where people want to aim at. Even if someone was telling me I want to work at mobile game, sure. All that matters to me is the level of the person. Not to be elitist, even though we are becoming more and more elitist because there's more and more demands, so I can afford to be picky because the slots are limited. But the technical part is because I want them to be able to follow along and get as much value from that. Because the mentorship is intensive as fuck. Mentees can confirm in the chat probably. And also now, even though I increased the price of the mentorship constantly since inception, the quote unquote win rate, like when I'm getting someone in an interview, their willingness to join and be able to pay has only increased. So now when I'm doing those calls, I'm not even trying to sell the mentorship anymore. I'm just here to answer questions and people make decisions. And I know that 85% of people who are allowed in the mentorship are likely to get it and to join. So this is very comfortable for me. Now I'm almost selecting the person. Even to give you an anecdote, like 2 hours ago, I was in a call with someone. Shout out to you if you're watching, Abraham. I just told him, you know what? I think you can do it, but I would like you to draw something to prove you can do it. I literally gave a test to someone, and I know that more and more I'm going to test people. Oh my God. Trojan Horse, you joined the cult? We lost you? Oh my God. So, yeah, now I'm just doing the call to make sure that the person gets it, that we are wired similarly, and the person shows the potential that I'm expecting. And also to see the determination, because I don't want people to drop out, because making a portfolio is very fucking hard, you know? My God, I'm going to make that picture at some point. During my break, I'm making that picture, folks, to join the cult. So, at the risk of sounding super elitist and sounding like an absolute asshole, but I'm used to sounding like an asshole on LinkedIn. I prefer that than being labeled as the nice guy of LinkedIn. That's also another problem. The toxic positivity that we talked about with Andy Walsh in the podcast. If you have not watched it, go watch it. It seems to be the best banger podcast we have ever done with someone. And I was hesitating to share it initially because it's spicy as fuck, and sometimes we disagree with Andy in a polite way, of course. But we are kind of embodying two opposite viewpoints about the industry. None is better than the other. It's just two different viewpoints, and it was very interesting to talk about that. But we have a big problem of toxic positivity in the industry. Again, between 2018 and 2022, especially, I think it has to also do with COVID, where a lot of tutorials arrived. Yeah, there is a global market crash and crisis. Beneficarious. It's not just the video game. It's the whole fucking world. Like, we have wars everywhere right now. We have conflict everywhere. We have the tariffs. Nobody knows how the world is going to look in 3 months. So panic sells, you know? People want solution. During the COVID, there's never been as many online courses released. So it's kind of nuts, you know? And I think there's been a lot of toxic positivity sprouting from the COVID because it was a very anxiety-inducing time period. Everyone got stressed as fuck with the lockdown and all of that. And everyone needed to be soothed. And everyone started to be like, yeah, your work is amazing, bro. The very yes man American way of dealing with it. Like, yeah, your work is amazing, bro. That's amazing. Oh, my team is amazing, bro. And because all the big actors of the industry left at that moment, and they were the big bad wolves of the industry, like slapping people. And I remember, you know, one of the very first public appearance of Shadi Safadi was in the Level Up podcast. And he got flamed so fucking hard in the chat for labeling his own work as amateur piece of shit. He was really like, what the fuck is that piece of shit? That's amateur level. And everyone in the chat was shocked. Like, what the fuck? You cannot say that. That's mean. And Shadi was unapologetic. Feng is unapologetic. Like, last year, people getting reviewed by Feng at IMAG were crying because he was so brutally honest about what is expected, and people are not used to that. They got like this kind of soft skin, you know? Oh yeah, toxic positivity is super evil. I prefer a hater than toxic positivity, personally. Because at least the hater is honest, you know? Behind the hater, it's often a fan in disguise, you know? But that's another discussion. But toxic positivity, it's so bad. It drove so many people mad. They were like thinking like they are the top G, you know? It's like, oh, that big artist he said epic shit, bro, on my stuff. So I'm going to apply to the industry and think like I'm a rock star. And 6 months later, the person is crying, eating Ben & Jerry's peanut butter ice cream, and not understanding why they crashed on the doors of the industry. And it drives so many people mad, you know? Working on eggshell when giving feedback is bad feedback. And yeah, exactly. And I've been watching your feedback, folks, for the new mentors we have. It's amazing. And you are teaching me a lot about myself. I realize that I'm very bad at dealing with conflict. And sometimes I'm torn about being a bit too blunt. And you guys are teaching me how to be way more blunt, even though sometimes I sound like an asshole sometimes. But you know, sometimes you have to be an asshole. And I do not mean to be mean, but sometimes you have to rip out the Band-Aid to help the person. How to influence and influence people. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that book just after, you know. I love that book. I have it on my shelf. Like, give me a sec. I have it. Very good book. But again, it's a great power, and with great power comes great responsibilities, you know? I want to meet Jerome. Yeah, of course. Let's do a podcast together, Alex. Get us in touch. So yeah, so many people, they don't get that thing. You know, everything we talk about, sorry, I've been on a massive tangent right there. I'm freestyling my way. It's not scripted at all. But so many artists don't have that mindset. And it's not to be like a tough guy, bro, like Andrew Tate war room type of mindset where you have to take cold shower, wake up at 4 and be the alpha bro, you know, and compensating for insecurities. It's not what I mean. It's just let's be honest and bring back common sense. Instead of bitching and whining and everyone having their own little safe space where they are unquestioned, unchallenged, and everyone and starting to filter out their thing to be surrounded by only people like them. It's like the echo chamber mindset. That's what I've been working on with the Artnest. That's why I'm acting like a fucking clown on LinkedIn and getting shit on all the time. It's because I want to absolutely not work with people who are in that crying closet echo chamber and who have a soft spine. And I want to attract those who are fucking fed up with that shit. Same with art school, exactly. So and it's not to be mean. I'm often saying that to people, and the mentees, you know how sensitive and emotional I can be, especially right now because I'm very tired. You've seen me in my worst moment recently, and you know I'm a fucking emotional bomb. You know I'm very sensitive, and I don't want to hurt people. I hope I'm doing my best to help. At least I have an incentive to do that. It's also my job, you know. So let's not pretend I'm Mother Teresa either. But I like to help, and I like to see you succeed. And I think that the toxic positivity, not saying the truth to people, sending people to hell and getting them looking forward to do it. Like, yeah, your shit is amazing, bro. Apply to 1pixel brush right now. And then they crash and they have a meltdown and maybe they get depressed, they quit, they resent you, they resent themselves, they start to spiral down. This is evil as fuck, you know? This is the real evil. Sending people to hell and getting them looking forward to it. And we got too many of that shit. And again, people do not pick the pattern. I like cats, yeah. New kitty in 2 days. In 48 hours, I should be having my new kitty. I should be in the car trying to go as fast as possible to arrive home. So yeah, and speaking about pattern, it's about standing out in an era of sameness. Again, we talked about all that herd mentality. We talked about the clones of clones of clones of clones. Here is why the market saturation is a good thing. The market saturation, it's that army of Buzz Lightyears. And you just need one of them that is in pink or in red or any other color to stand out. So this is where I'm entering a bit my villain arc for that presentation. This is where I'm going to score very high on the Machiavellian dark triad. But again, my whole strategy is Machiavellian as fuck, okay? For the mentorship, I'm teaching you what I think works, and not what feels good, while remaining ethical and not screwing up people. But you know what you can do with the fact that the market is saturated? You know what you can do with that era of clone? Is that if you just do what is required, those people, they are helping you to stand out. So when I hear that the industry is saturated, it's like saturated by what? Saturated by those. Saturated by the clones. It's like the army of clones in Star Wars, you know? You just have to do the right thing. You stand out positively. You act like a breath of fresh air to the recruiter. So these people, they are not damaging your chances of getting hired. I will not dare to say that it's easy to get hired today compared to before. It's probably a bit harder. But one thing that is definitely the easiest we have ever seen is to stand out positively. It has never been as easy. Just pick ArtStation. Everything you see on the front page, do not do it. Here are the ways you can stand out today. With the content, instead of the keyframe and everything I mentioned right here, design, call-out sheet, everything that I've been showcasing from the Art Nest or from FZD School or the Tyler Edlin I've been talking about. There's a reason that guys like Tyler Edlin or Mark Moller are picking the Art Nest student as examples in their videos. That's because even in terms of content, we stand out. Look at ArtStation. If you see a keyframe in the front page, it's just another one. If you see a call-out sheet, when was the last time you saw a call-out sheet, as a miniature? This attracts attention because it stands out. And as a recruiter, the first thing you see, it's a keyframe. You're like, oh shit, another one. You see a keyframe immediately. Oh, that person gets it. And then you show a keyframe. Oh, you can also do keyframe. What are the chances of going your own way, making your own product instead of working for others? As an artist, you need a big audience for that. Making your own game, you still need money or a producer. So, a bit tough. We're going to talk at some point at the other ways to make money as an artist. One of them is education and resources. So, yeah. For another time. The medium, everyone is kid bashing shit and showing the raw unfiltered 3D. Again, nothing against 3D or 2D. I'm not a maximalist. But what about making sure you just go for what is the most efficient for you? I said the most efficient time-wise, not the easiest. Because everyone is going for the easiest thing, which is keeping the fundamentals and playing Legos with shit and Mixamo asset. The portfolio subject, avoid The Last of Us, the Wukong, the Ghost of Tsushima clone, the generic modern shooter. We talked about that. Storytelling. Not that many people are able to tell a story. A lot of pictures, just a bunch of dudes with weapons entering a deserted place. So yeah, you can stand out with storytelling. Gameplay, even more. Like only a handful of concept artists that do not have job focus on gameplay. Most of them, they don't even know how to show gameplay in their work. Doing the hard stuff, like drawing, fundamentals, call-out sheet, the not-so-sexy stuff. Again, we have the value equation. So let's have the value equation for a keyframe versus what we do at the Art Nest, okay? So keyframe, dream outcome, flashy picture that gets you tons of likes and epic shit bro comments from your favorite idol, just because you copied them and you give them $60 for a tutorial. Perceived likelihood of achievement, very easy, you just have to follow along the tutorial. Time delay, 2 days. Effort and sacrifice? None. There's zero fundamental. You just keep that shit, set up an HDRI, press render, wait 5 minutes, post it on ArtStation. Good. What is required for work, or what we do at the Art Nest, or what FZD was doing, what Tyler Edlin is doing? Dream outcome. Pictures that are not so flashy, that are going to help the 3D team, but not collect likes on ArtStation. Perceived likelihood of achievement. 90% of your stuff is going to go to the trash bin. Time delay. You're going to spend a fuck ton of time on that. Effort and sacrifice requires fundamentals. You're going to have to fail. You have to problem solve real stuff and not just make flashy picture. It's going to be tough. So it's very valuable for sure because it's rare. But the perceived interest for that, because there's so much friction, it's so hard and the results are so uncertain, no wonder not that many people do that. I'm not here to judge who is a fraud or not. That's very subjective. But environment concept artists, you just kid bash shit today. Like if your main asset is something kitbash, you're not designing shit. You're just playing Legos with 3D, and any dum-dum with 2 weeks on Blender, $200 on kitbash pack in an HDRI can do that. So it's not even a fraud, it's just that there's zero value in that. And again, you look at the guys from OPB, The Last of Us and such, they are kitbashing heavy, but their composition and fundamentals behind are through the roof. They are insane. And also, in studios like OPB, Mood, and such, what artists rarely know is that they have dedicated 3D artists who are making the kitbash asset for the concept artist from scratch. And the best way to stand out is by understanding the job. Simple as that. If you've been following the artist, you know that for a long time. So this is a meme that I shared recently. It did pretty well. Like, this is what concept artists think they get hired, is the visible part of the iceberg. Technique and rendering, flashy picture. Let me copy whatever fancy artist. This is what gets you hired: pure design, problem solving, and entertainment. You know that food pyramid, where they tell you what is the base of alimentation and what is more or less important? We can do the food pyramid of concept art. And most people, they get it, they invert it. They start with rendering at the base, then storytelling, then functionality, then gameplay. You need to start with the opposite. The first thing is that it's gameplay and entertainment. You are designing for games. You are designing for movies. The finality of your design is to be put in game and to be fun. So you need to start from that. Then it needs to be functional for the 3D team, because that's where there is the most money after the entertainment value. Then storytelling to make it compelling. And then at the end, rendering. No amount of rendering can save shit design or a lack of understanding of the production. But you understand production, you understand gameplay, you understand storytelling. All you have to do is level up your rendering, and this can be taught easily and fast with a proper teacher telling you exactly what to do. Same thing. Now let's talk about the job market from a business perspective and not from an emotional mass panic market. Again, people get it wrong. I'm sounding like a crazy conspiracy theorist going against every single trend. I'm sorry for that. It's been my entire life to go against the doxa all the time, whether I want it or not. It's the same with art. It's all about seeing the unseen, you know? That's why we have an owl as a logo. It's about seeing the unseen. Most people think that to get jobs in the industry, they need to go with job offers. That's the worst fucking strategy, especially today. Most of the jobs are available for recommendation. And let me explain why relying on a job offer is the worst strategy. It's because, first of all, 50% of job offers on LinkedIn, they are ghost jobs. It still works. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's a shit strategy. I'm just saying that if you solely rely on that, you shoot yourself in the foot, because you are literally fishing for 10% of the job available. You need to do both exactly, Alex. You're spoiling the next thing. You know what I'm going to talk about. You know it already. The problem is that over 50% of job offers on LinkedIn, they are ghost jobs. It's been proven. There's a crap ton of videos about that. Have a look at like why LinkedIn ruined the job market. Have a look at YouTube channel called Business Cringe. I love that channel. It's so funny. It's probably not that funny when you are looking for a job, but I find it extremely funny because it's extremely dark type of humor. So ghost job. So job offers are 10% of the job. If 50% are ghost job, you are literally aiming, if you solely rely on job offer, you are literally relying on 5% of the job available. If you are, okay. So keyframe and flashy picture, it's like 10% of what you do in the job. If you rely just on job offer, it's like 5% of the job available, because the 5% of the jobs, it's ghost job. So literally, you only do keyframe and you rely solely on job offer. Guess what? You are compatible with 0.5% of the jobs on the fucking market. And everyone and their mom is competing with that. So this is roughly the data. If I had to make a guesstimate on what's the percentage of artists doing only keyframe, I would say 95%. Let's say 90% to be extremely conservative. And people relying solely on job offer and not doing cold email based on the calls I'm having for the mentorship, knowing that the calls are already selecting the best of the best and those that seems to be the smartest and the most potent. I would say that job offer, it's probably 20% of the selected artists. So let's assume 10% of people. Okay? So 90% of people solely rely on job offer. So 90% of 90%. Okay. For 0.5% of the job, you're fighting with 81% of the industry. Okay? That's like a 400-to-1 ratio of win rate. If I can guesstimate it, but 81% of the industry competing with you for 0.5% of the jobs. I guess it's clear on why relying on job offer is so bad. You are fighting for crumbles. You also need to understand how job offer function. So I think I already drew it, but this is time. So let's assume they have a need. Let's assume a studio, they need someone. Cool, they need someone right here. There's going to be a period right here where there's going to be a recommendation. They're going to say, hey guys, do you know someone who could do that job? If that's the case, get us in touch. They're going to try to ask everyone at the studio if they can recommend someone. If they found nobody, now they publish a job offer. And people start applying. One of them is going to apply there, one of them is going to apply there. One of them is going to apply, gets rejected instantly. Can reject you after an interview, after an art test, etc. At some point, they found the right person. Boom. That person gets it. And they can sell all the others. And then sign the contract, you onboard the person, and the person starts working. Cool. Guess what? Job offer. This is, you know, I was about to make that crappy metaphor of like, if you rely solely on job offer, you know, it's like those scientific views where you have an egg and you have tons of little cells trying to race and you have billions of them. But I'm going to avoid that because it's not very tasteful to do that comparison. But it's a bit like that, you know. You are competing against the fucking world at that moment. So job offer fucking sucks. Again, I'm not saying that you should dismiss them and ignore them, but relying solely on that fucking sucks because at that moment, you are competing with everyone and their mom for a job that has been as a last resort. And job offer, it's a last resort. 80 to 90% of jobs are filled for recommendation, so they never arrive on the market publicly. So your strategy, in addition to job offer, when you see some it's good, is to get recommended. And what is good with recommendation is that technically you compete against nobody and you got the trust of someone that they trust transferred to you. When you apply to a job, if you say, I am the best, you're going to sound like a pretentious prick. if you are saying, I am the best, you sound arrogant. If someone says, this person is the GOAT, you need that person, because they trust the person, the trust they have to that person is transferred to you. It's way easier. And it's even more important today because studios are in panic mode. They cannot gamble that much money and time. So they need to find someone that they can trust immediately. So recommendation is even more important today. Make sense, folks? Let me just check my calendar. When is my next call? Oh, that's fine. That's at 6. I still have time. Makes sense? And the other problem of job offer is that nothing is in your control. It's like a lottery ticket. Nothing is in your control because 50% is in a ghost job. You do not control if the job is legit or not. You do not control when the offer is posted, from which studio, with which job description, which requirement, who is applying, and the order in which you are in the queue. That's so many factors that are going to be hard to compete against. Let's say you want to work, I don't know, like at Naughty Dog, and you rely on job offer. It might take years, if ever, before they release a job offer. You cannot rely on luck. To me, job offer, it's relying on luck, right? There's so many luck factors. We were talking about luck before. That's relying on luck. What you control is who you connect to, what you say to them. If you get feedback, if you are applying to that, if you are applying the feedback and sending them an update, if you are building a relationship with them or not, all of that is in your control. And there's no limit to that. There's more artists in the industry that you could contact and build a relationship with that you can ever do. So there's no limit on that, while the amount of job offer available every day is limited. So literally, this is how you can do volume and force luck with things that are in your control. And of course, not everyone is going to recommend you, but you just need one person to recommend you to the right studio to change your fucking life. You are literally planting seeds for later. Worst case scenario, you get feedback and you get friends. That might help you in the future. Best case scenario, it changes your fucking life. And maybe you get a job and you get another offer thanks to that, and you can pick an even better one. Hello, Arthur. So yeah, super important. Two more things, and then I have to go. Diving in the mind of the recruiter. We talked about the oh shit, another one effect. The other thing is that you need to see the recruiting process as an intellectual duel. Recruiters are busy. They are going to have ready-made objections to try to dismiss your work. What's the ATS? Do a research, Carl Darwin. Just ask yourself, what is an ATS? Is just a bot that reads application, but literally type on Google, what is an ATS? You're going to find way better definition. But always assume a studio uses an ATS. That's another thing that most artists never talk about. And the few times I've been talking about an ATS, there has been an army of super virtue signaling HR saying, no, that's bad. I'm spending 15 minutes per application. No, F you. It's not true. You're eating a fucking Kit Kat while chatting with your colleague about what you're going to do and the latest series you got. You are not reviewing 15 minutes an application. The ATS is filtering, and then you're going to review what the ATS is going to vomit from you. So again, let's stop with the toxic positivity with the LinkedIn bullshit. Like, oh my God, I'm spending an hour to review everyone. No, you have 300 applications. It doesn't make sense. Stop. So they are busy. They are in a hurry. They are going to have a lot of objections. Like, can you draw Can you render? Can you design? Do you understand production? Do you understand this? Do you understand the style? You're doing characters. Okay, can you pose a character? Can you do faces? Can you do costume design? Can you do different body shapes? Can you do different skin complexion? Can you do different ethnicities? Can you do different age? Can you draw children or old people, etc.? Again, if you have a business mindset, try to anticipate those kind of objections and parry them in advance. Let's say you only have female characters in your portfolio, which I see a lot in applications. The first question they might use to dismiss you immediately is, what about male characters? Oh, you don't have some? We can't hire you. Sorry. Next. Try to ask yourself, try to play the devil advocate with your own work and ask yourself, what would be the easiest way for an asshole to demolish my work? Imagine yourself as an asshole that wants to just be mean with you, with your work, and what's the most mean thing we can say about your work? Once you have identified that, correct it. Boom. You have nuked that anticipation. I want to have a recruiter. I need to ask the folks at Mood to do that. I'm pretty sure they will be willing to talk about that. It will be a fantastic podcast, but I don't want a boomer from LinkedIn. I want an art manager, you know. I want someone who is an artist who can talk about what they want. Typically like Remy from CDPR. That would be amazing. I need to contact people about that. So the more you can parry that and the more you can deflect objection, at some point, if you do it properly, they are left without a single objection they can throw at you, and they have no choice but to abdicate and forward you to the next stage of the hiring process. And this is what is good. Next, let's talk about the three cardinalities of application with your work. And you can see how it can be transposed to art. The first one is confusion. We don't understand what you are doing. Your subject is alien, it's too much OC, don't steal, too personal. We need 153 pages of lore to understand your shit. They don't have the time. Your designs are not clear, they don't understand how it works. Confusion, not good. Other thing, boredom. It's boring. It's always the same pose of the character all the time. You are not posing, you are bringing redundant elements we have already seen. Next candidate. Life is too short. Skepticism, they think you cannot do it. Next candidate. Okay? Next thing, and last, I want to talk about what you can use to negotiate. Again, I know everyone is very uncomfortable with negotiating because it means a bit of conflict. And I'm the same. I don't like negotiating. I'm very conflict avoidant, as I was saying before. Even with my own mentees, well, sometimes I will have to bark a bit more to help them. And I'm learning on that. I'm doing my best to improve. It's been doing okay, but it can be improved. So nobody likes negotiation. It's uncomfortable. And studios, they know it's uncomfortable for you. And they are more used to that than you. So they're going to utilize that against you. They're going to make you uncomfortable when negotiating, for you to be afraid to be too pushy or too aggressive, to lowball you. It's the rule of the game. And I'm sorry to say that, but during interviews, nice people lose. You don't want to be the nice person archetype during an interview. It does not mean being an asshole. It doesn't mean being a jerk, but it means being professional and standing up to your ground. You have to be willing to walk away from the deal and say no. Otherwise, if they understand you cannot say no, they're going to lowball you. Like recently on LinkedIn, I saw a ludicrous post from someone who was like, hey, it's so hard to negotiate. Studios are lowballing you and they get angry when you give your price. And I discussed a lot with the person. It's someone I got in touch with. He joined the call a few months ago. It's not that much the post that was ludicrous, it's the answer. Because at some point I said something like, you have to stand your ground and you have to hold them accountable to the standards they have set. And someone said, "But yes, but you're going to lose the deal if you say that." And I just slammed dunked on the person, and the person didn't even bear to answer. And I say, "Are you supposed to accept every deal, even if it's shitty? You know?" Like, so many artists are so afraid to say no, and they are willing to settle for pieces of shit of contract. If it's so bad, maybe it's better to work at McDonald's or not work at all and save your time. You're going to fucking hate the job. And studios, they know people are desperate. They are trying to utilize that and weaponize it against you. In any interview, in any type of situation like this, of negotiation, the one who wins and who is in power, this is again dark triad Machiavellian shit right there. This is influence. This is this type of book. In any situation of conflict or negotiation, the person who is in power and who has an unfair advantage is the one who needs the order the least. If they sense you are hungry, that you really, really need that job, not even want, but need that job, they're going to weaponize that against you. It's like abusive relationship, you know? It's like when you are dependent on the other in a relationship, and the person senses it and is a bit on the dark triad, nasty stuff can happen. It's the rule of the game. Do not hate companies for doing that. It's the game of negotiation, and you have to do the same. You will not be judged for someone rude for standing up your ground. And actually, you will look like someone who is respecting themselves. So, quick set of books recommended. So, Influence by Robert B. Cialdini. It has been updated. I need to buy the updated version because it's updated for the internet. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He's a negotiator for the FBI, I think, or the SWAT. The Closest Survival Guide by Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is the most aggressive salesman in the world. Even to the same level of Jordan Belfort in the Wolf of Wall Street. Not ethical, but at least you will know the techniques that they are using on you. Those books are even Influence. I'm not telling you to use that, but at least it tells you to recognize those things so you are not getting bullshitted by them. And the last book, it's a bit of a controversial book. It's called When I Say No, I'll Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith. If you identify yourself as the nice guy, nice girl, who is unable to say no, that book is for you. It's a very violent book. It's very disturbing. Some people will say that book is controversial. Do whatever you want. I'm not endorsing the person or whatever. I'm just telling you that this book, if you are unable to say no, is a mega vaccine against that. But it's a very disturbing book. Okay? So, set of guidelines to deal better with negotiation. First of all, of course, disclaimer, do not ever lie. Lying is fucking bad. Lying is an hydra. When you cut one head, two are growing. And they're going to sense when you lie. HRs are paid to be very sharp during interviews and to spot lies and discomfort. So, do not lie. But bluff is allowed. And because you should not lie doesn't mean that you should be at full disclosure. I talked about that with several mentees who in the past were not spotting the difference between being honest and full disclosure. Let's assume there is a question, what is your biggest flaw? You need to ask yourself, what is my biggest flaw in advance? And tell yourself, is that flaw a deal breaker or not? Let me give you an example. If your biggest flaw is that you are prone to anger or tilt or breakdowns, that's probably a deal breaker because it's going to be seen as a massive liability. In that case, you're allowed to bluff and give another big flaw of you. I'm going to give you my personal example. It was in the past before my hypnotherapy. I was having big spikes emotionally. Like when I was emotional, it was either extreme joy or extreme pain. And it was a bit scary even for myself because I was feeling like I was not in control. Now it's been equalized thanks to a lot of work in hypnotherapy, so that's cool. But if I was to say I'm having extreme moment of joy and I'm only having emotions through extremes, it's a mega red flag. Isn't that inherent to artists? Maybe, probably. But you know, it was like audio. You know the when you compress sound in audio. This is a bit how I was feeling emotionally before. Like, let's assume this is good and this is bad right there. I had extreme spikes of good, extreme spikes of bad, and now it's more compressed. It's more contained within reasonable, and it's rarely extremely positive or extremely negative. And when something extremely positive comes, I can let it go and let it come to me. And when it's extremely negative, I have more tools to refrain it and to avoid getting overwhelmed by it. So I would dare to say, I think I'm a bit more in control of my emotions now. But at the time, let's say it was 2016 when I did my interview for Ubisoft, it was not the case at all. It was like mega spike. Like you would hear me laugh at the time. Like when I was laughing, it was scaring my mom. And when I was sad, it was very bad also. Something like this would be a mega red flag. So I picked my second biggest default flaw, which is that I don't like change. I'm very reluctant to change. I do not like moving to a new home. I do not like novelty. I do not like a new environment. And I know that I'm very shy naturally. I'm very introverted. So I mix being introverted and reluctant to change. And the thing I said, it was literally during my interview at Ubisoft when she asked me about my qualities and my flaws. It's something like, I'm quite uncomfortable when I come to a new environment. So if I appear very shy and quite introverted and reserved at the beginning, when I arrive in a studio, don't be surprised. I'm a bit like a little kitty arriving in a new home. They don't like moving to a new home. They need to feel safe. They need to feel a bit in control of their immediate surrounding, and they need to be familiar with everything. And then with a bit of time, they get used and they open up. It's going to be the same with me. If you see me a bit shy and closed at the beginning, don't freak out. Give me 2 weeks to know what is what, where everyone belongs, etc., to get used to the ecosystem, and then I will naturally open up. So that's how I expose the flaw without fully disclosing that I hate change. I dialed down the vocabulary, you know? The I hate, extreme adjective, I'm too something, avoid that, avoid the extremes. Dial down the dialogue. You are not lying, you are just not disclosing the full intensity of it. Okay? It's very important. Same when let's say there's a gap in your resume. They ask you, why is there a gap in your resume? You can say, well, I was unemployed and I was having a meltdown, which might be true. What else did you do at that moment? You took a mentorship, you worked and things like that. You can potentially omit that you were having a breakdown and say, I utilized that time to work on my CV, on my portfolio and on my skills. That's better. You flow about you, exactly what I said, Bignito. You dial down the dialogue and you make sure you are not falling into extremes. And also you make sure to give them the tools to prevent or diffuse that problem if it was to happen. So again, I'm introverted, I hate change. My solution is don't freak out. Just give me a bit of time. Do not push me too much on the first 2 weeks. I'm going to open it. Just give me a bit of time. It's going to be okay. That's the solution I'm giving. Okay? If someone, let's say, is easily overwhelmed, you can say, I'm easily overwhelmed. And in that case, you're going to see the signs, this. If at some point you see me closing myself and secluding myself a bit, even though I might be a bit reluctant to that in the instant, do not hesitate to come to me and to give me a quick reality check and tell me what to do. That's an example. Yeah, there would be a replay. Don't worry, folks. That's an example. But give a solution, and an honest solution, not a bullshit thing given by ChatGPT. The other day, I was talking about perfectionism, and I asked ChatGPT about perfectionism, like, give me the 5 worst advice you could give. Do not hesitate to ask ChatGPT, give me the 5 worst advice you could give to that problem. It's the most cliche stuff, like the perfectionism. Oh, just relax, bro. No, it's not working like that in the head of a perfectionistic. To negotiate and to win, you need to spot inconsistencies and paradoxes. And for that, you need to do your research. You're going to do your research on the website of companies about their values and what they brag about. Or the job offer. And a quick tip, when you see a job offer, screenshot that because it might disappear. So screenshot the job offer and look at the benefits, like competitive salary, wide compensation package. We care about our employees' well-being. We prioritize work-life balance. There is room for salary negotiation, etc. Those things are the weapons, the best weapons you can use to negotiate. Because if you say, well, I want that salary because that's the average in the industry that I found on Glassdoor, they're going to tell you, yes, but it's an average, so there is less and there is more. And actually, for you, it's going to be less. So, when you see buzzwords like that, you negotiate, and you know they are trying to lowball you, you're going to tell them, well, I understand the price, I get it, but I'm just a bit surprised because in the job offer and even on the website, you publicly say that you care deeply about offering competitive salary. And it's barely in the average. You might think you're going to sound like an asshole. You're going to see their smile drop. And the reason why calling out their bullshit like that in a peaceful way, you're not going to insult them, you're not going to be a jerk again, you're just going to be factual. The reason why it's working so well, it's because it's putting their reputation at risk. They're like, oh shit, we said something, this person is catching on that. And if we are not abiding by if we are creating a paradox between what we say and what we do, this person might mention that publicly on like Glassdoor. It's a risk for reputation. You want another example? Let's say you are in a studio. You are applying to a studio in a big city that is expensive. You can log the salary by requesting at least 3 times the price of the average rent 30 minutes around the studio by walking. They're going to tell you, well, it's an expensive city, you know, and that might be a bit of a heavy price. But, you know, by the subway or something like that, it's definitely possible to get to the studio within an hour, you know, and it's okay for Paris or London, something like that. And then if you have spotted that they say we prioritize work-life balance, you might say something like, well, I understand what you say, and that's something that can be considered. However, I'm just surprised because I was reading your website and you say publicly that you care about work-life balance, and I don't really think that living with 5 roommates that I don't know and having to commute 1.5 hours in the morning and in the evening every day, not accounting for public transportation issues to commute to work, is a good way to have a good work-life balance. I'm going to be tired. It's going to impact my performance. And yeah, it's not a good work-life balance. So I'm a bit surprised that you propose that, given how proudly you mentioned that you want to foster that in your work environment. And in their head, they're going to say, motherfucker, this person gets it. That's how you negotiate, folks. It's not with some gimmicks. It's not with some average fun on Glassdoor. It's with facts and spotting inconsistencies. Okay? It's not about, can they react like asshole? Okay, if they react like asshole and you nuke the interview, you probably dodged a bullet. I know it's tough to swallow when you are hungry for a job, but if it was that much pain for them and they react badly in a context of conflict, which negotiation is conflict, imagine when giving you feedback. Imagine how worse they will be when giving you feedback. Do you want to work with someone like that? And again, that's something that I know it's wishful thinking. I know that when you're looking for a job, you're hungry, but studios sense that and they utilize that and they take advantage of you because of that. Having standards, being willing to nuke the interview because you have standards, the studio is either going to tell yourself that you're too picky. In that case, they are the assholes, or else they are like, damn, this person has guts. It's good. You don't want to be a fucking piece of shit that is willing to accept anything and to wallow in whatever bone they throw at you. Otherwise, it is the green line to be abused. If you cannot say no to that, if you're willing to sign a shitty deal, that's bad, you know? Yeah, same with lifestyle subsidies, competitive salary, all the corporate bullshit that they use, weaponize that. Again, competitive salary, you don't, let's say you have the benefits, you pick the benefits of whatever job offer, ask ChatGPT for each of them, give me 5 ways I could weaponize that in an interview when they are trying to lowball me. ChatGPT is smart enough to do that and to give you great ideas. I don't like ChatGPT for a lot of things, but to play the devil advocate, ChatGPT is very good. To challenge ID, if you ask ChatGPT to challenge things, it's going to give you at least 1 good idea per thing. You don't need 50 of them, you just need 1 of them. Ask for 5, pick the best one, make it your own style, it's good. You know what? Let's do the test. Okay. ChatGPT. Okay. Give me 3 ways I could weaponize these benefits displayed on a job offer when doing an interview and the HR is trying to lowball my salary. Okay. For each of these benefits. Okay. Let's see what ChatGPT does. I want to prove that, okay? If the salary is truly competitive, can you share what benchmark you're using? Because based on your current market rate for this role, especially in my experience, that doesn't quite align. Another one you can use for competitive salary, when they ask you what's your price, you can say, well, you say you offer competitive salary. If they are that competitive, you are probably willing to show them publicly, wink, wink. In my research, competitive salary for this role typically starts at X. Will you say this offer is competitive with that range? This is super good. You mentioned competitive, but this feels more like a starting point than a competitive one. You sound a bit more like an asshole on that one. There are conditions under which we can bring it more in line with the industry standards. Okay, the second part is good. You know, I'm not telling you it's good or that it's perfect, but this is a good base that you can freestyle around. Why compensation package? That's great. I'd love a breakdown of what's included beyond base salary. Specifically, how does the value of the total package compare to a higher base salary? This one is amazing. When they are telling you we have a football table and we have an espresso machine and we have a free fruit basket and all that shit. To me, when I see that, and when they say, we have family, this is a fucking red flag now. This is so good. Okay? I know as artists, we have a bias against AI. ChatGPT, if you drive it well, it can do stuff like that for you. This is good. This is helpful. As artists, I don't have those arguments myself. I would be happy to steal one of them in an interview right here. And I'm pretty sure everyone can agree that those things will be useful. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you agree with that. Let's see if those things you find it useful. Again, I'm not saying ChatGPT is amazing and it's life-changing or whatever, but for something like this, it's useful. And this is to prove you that this is accessible. A white package is great if it's meaningful. Can we go over each element? I would like to evaluate how they compensate for the gap between your offer and the market average. This is good. Unless there's a significant bonus or equity component, I'm not seeing how the full package makes up for the lower base. Could you clarify? This is amazing. They care about well-being. That's good to hear. Part of well-being is financial stability. Here we go. I'd love to see the company demonstrate that they care with a salary that reflects the value I bring. Very good. Caring about well-being also means not putting people in a position where they feel undervalued. Do you see this offer as fully aligned with that principle? It's about, you know, when a cat makes a poo outside of the litter box and you put their nose in it? That's exactly what you do with them right now. It's not being an asshole, it's being smart. It's having standard, it's being willing to not settle for something bad by default, out of non-options. When you have standards, they're going to think, wow, if that person is willing to lose the deal and is a bit aggressive, it probably means that they have values and that they have other opportunities at the moment. That's important to me, so I'm curious how you offer support long-term well-being from both a mental and financial standpoint. I don't like that one. You see, the rest is pretty good. 2 out of 3 on most of them. Work-life balance. A fair salary is key to work-life balance. Otherwise, people need to freelance or work extra to cover the gap. Can we revisit the number to reflect that? Very good. That's encouraging. Part of balance is not having to stress about whether your compensation reflects your worth. Let's find a number that allows for that. If work balance is a priority, that salaries to ensure employees don't need to chase extra income elsewhere. Can we align on that? This is good. There's room for salary negotiation. Great. Let's have that negotiation now. Here we go. Very good. That's what I bring to the table and why I believe design team is more appropriate. I like to counter with a proposal based on industry benchmark and the scope of that role. I don't like that one. Or else, yeah, we offer room for salary. Perfect. In that case, I would like to counter proposal. Since you're open to negotiation, can you help me understand what flexibility exists above that current offer? Here we go. Last tip, then I have to go. I have 12 minutes to do that. You want to have a price bracket. So the price bracket, the way you do it, no kidding, is, let's say, let's give a bunch of number. Okay, let's say you want 3,000. They ask you for your price. You never say, I want 3,000. You say something like, normally my range for this kind of task, I usually go, depending on the complexity, my range goes generally from 3,000 to 3,600, something like this. That's the bracket. The minimum side of the bracket is what you want. Okay? Normally, decent negotiation, because again, companies are very careful about their reputation, and you want them to negotiate, they're going to settle somewhere in the middle, maybe for 3,300. That's cool. That's already more than you have. And if they settle for that, you're like, well, that's for the low ball. Are you already sure? Because I might have to cut corners, you know? Not in, this is mostly for freelance, but for salary, it works too. Generally, they're going to settle somewhere. You have logged the minimum. If they give you the minimum, they look like fucking assholes, you know? Especially in the corporate world. A bit less in freelance, but for the corporate world, if you say, that's my minimum, and they give you the minimum or even less, they look like absolute assholes. You have logged the thing this way. Don't say something ludicrous like 3,000 to 6,000. This is ludicrous. But a 20% range, that's fine. Price bracket. You want them to negotiate with you always. Because as we said with Trojan horse before, if they don't negotiate with you and they shut down the application, you probably didn't want to work with them in the first place because they will be probably even worse giving you feedback. You want them to negotiate with you always because it's the principle. If they don't negotiate with you, they say yes to your price, guess what? You are too low and they have a bargain. So you will have to be higher next time. If they get angry and tell you to piss off, you don't want to work with them. If they negotiate, it means that you will probably land higher than the minimum you wanted. You want them to negotiate. If they give you the price, first, try to go slightly higher with the argument we talked about before. Or well, I understand that, but generally I work more between this and that, and it's going to land. Let's say they give you, let's say they give you 3,100. You can say, well, generally it's between 32 and 3,600. Can you align with that? Can you make a little something? That's better. You always negotiate up if they try to speak. The no, you already have it. Worst case scenario, you have that price. Well, normally I'm working more for that price. Would that be possible to align for that? You say yes, good, you have more money. If they say no, you can still stick to that. That's fine. It's up to you. Reframing, very important. Do not ever give your price without the context. You want them to give you all the information you need before giving your price. So first of all, in a non-exhaustive way, the content of the work that you have to produce, the quantity, the quality, the deadline, the amount of hours you are supposed to work every day, and overall the work condition and everything. It's like, it's like those people with a price sheet. I already say that I don't like price sheet at all because it's not a drive-through McDonald's menu. You are not giving your price because if you are already giving your price, let's say illustration with characters, it's $1,000. Yeah, but an illustration with 2 characters sitting idle on a bench is way easier than 2 characters wrestling with magic. You want to have the info before giving the price. And if they argue against that, you tell them, well, in order to give you a precise guesstimate and also to save time, I need those information. This way it removes the guesswork. It removes a bit of research and it saves you time and money. Here we go. You wait for that. You never give the price unless you're in an interview for a job and time is limited. Generally, when you're freelancing, you never give the price during the call. You tell them, I'm going to grab this information, think about that, and reach back to you maybe tomorrow with a proper guesstimate. You never give the price live unless you're in an interview for a salary job. And you already have these infos. So technically, it's the interview when they are actually asking you for a price, not the first interview. And I told you about what sucks. The industry standards, it sucks. Really, as a last resort, rent minimal salary lock. So big cities, you need to earn at least 3 times the price. This is very powerful in expensive cities like Paris, London, New York, etc., or LA. But not alone as an argument. Otherwise, they're going to tell you, well, go to the suburbs with 5 roommates. So you need to do work-life balance and all we talked about. And the cost of living, nobody gives a shit about the cost of living. Everyone knows about inflation. That's it, folks, my mighty warriors. Let's Let's finish that presentation.
My fucking warriors who will not hang up the phone until their client either buys or fucking dies!
I fucking hated that movie, by the way. It was so uncomfortable. All right. Hope you enjoyed that presentation, folks. Hope it's bringing you value, as always. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're doing great. Have a nice weekend, folks. As always, few slots left for the mentorship. I think there's 5 slots left for June's class. It's the last one before the summer break. So if you want to join, you know where to find it. You have the link in the description. If you want to join the Discord, go through the free course. Quick announcement before you leave, folks. Next week, I'm making the preparatory module for the mentorship available again. It's been a mega banger. And this is the last time it's going to be at $100. Then it's going to improve in terms of price. Because I added a lot of things. I added some presentation about rendering, gameplay, design mistakes. So there's way more value. So if you have not got it in the first time, this is your time. And then it's going to have a permanent increase and be released probably non-stop, but a bit more expensive. So book your calendar if you want it. It's been a massive banger for those who got it. I think some in the chat can confirm it was great. Talk to you next week, folks. Take care. And next week, by the way, there's going to be a second cat. Hopefully sleeping in the belly of the big one. Talk to you soon, folks. Bye.